Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, continuing our series of Bardejov Diaries. This is the second part, and if you haven't seen the first part, be sure to check it out, where we gave a short chess lecture in the chess club. So now, back to the club. After the lecture, we did a simul, and the simul was a 4-game simul. Unfortunately, we didn't record the game, so this video would be kind of a footage of playing our simul, and I would be analyzing Trisha's game from the tournament, which after this simul, it was the first round at 4 p.m. So the position you see on the board is Trisha's first round game against Dominik Kochan. He's a 1700 from Slovakia, and so Trisha played knight f6, attacking the e4 pawn. He responded with rook f4, and now Trisha played a very strong move, a small trap as well. E takes f5, opening up the e file, and now white is forced to kind of capture with the pawn, isn't it? Because rook takes f5 drops e4 pawn. After e takes e5, here knight d5, bam, it's a fork. White can't do anything about it because if he captures, the rook on c3 is hanging. So after rook d3, then Trisha gained an exchange up, and then it was pretty easy going from here. She just kind of exchanged few pawns, centralized her king, and then slowly marched her king up and then converted it by getting into a pawn endgame, and this was winning. So in second round game, Trisha was paired against Simul Lomabir, 1900 from Slovakia, with the white pieces. So it's a Benoni-like structure, and it's black to play. Here he played pawn to c4, a very risky decision, sacrificing the pawn, but probably to gain some dynamic position. So knight takes c4 is one option, but that would have replied by rook c8, and there's some interesting ideas with b5, and the knight on c4 might not be looking great. So another option could be bishop takes c4, but again rook c8, and it's very annoying pin. However, what I think his opponent missed was Trisha could simply pick up the pawn with the queen, and now there's no issues on the c file as well. White is a healthy pawn up, and there isn't much to do. After some moves like b4, now Trisha is giving away her bishop here, but giving up the light squared bishop is beneficial. After a few moves, we kind of reached an endgame where, again, from the previous round, you can see a good knight versus bad bishop. White fixes, preventing f5, and she got her knight in, and then soon she won. f6 is hanging, f7 is hanging. It's really hard to do anything, so her opponent resigned. I hope you're enjoying the video so far and not being confused by the simul and the games I'm analyzing. Moving on to round 3, Trisha was paired against Zeko Ludovic with the black pieces. This was a double round day, so this was the evening round game. As you can see in this position, we have a very typical isolated queen's pawn. The d4 pawn is isolated, which means that fireworks might erupt. That's the base of white's strategy. Now, Trisha is attacking the c3 bishop. What should white do here? If white simply moves the bishop back to d2, then black wins the pawn. So this can't be it. Black will be a pawn up. Here, white slashed out with d5, opening up the bishop diagonal. There is an option to play on take on c3. E takes d5 is another option. Even knight takes d5 too. Eventually, Trisha kind of calculating every option, she went knight takes d5. Knight takes, e takes d5 was kind of wrong decision. Here queen takes d5 was important. Queen b5. Black is a pawn up, and queen trade is going to be beneficial. Here, Trisha kind of erred with e takes d5, and this is the start of the problems. Unless white finds this strong move. Bishop takes g7. Oh my god. Now, it looks like a normal sacrifice, but there are some insane moves after this. The problem is that the black rooks are not in the game. Here, white can follow up with knight e5, opening up the queen's diagonal with queen g4 check. If black covers with bishop g5, it's not that great, but there's another option like this one. It is a long line, but after queen g3 check, Then there's some zigzag kind of maneuvers on h3, f5. But basically, h7 is the focal point of attack. And I don't see a way to kind of, even bishop h4, queen f5. And again, you can't really get out of the wrath of white's attack. So Trisha was kind of lucky that her opponent missed this. And it's kind of easy to miss it, especially from afar. So the way Trisha can only play here is bishop g5, queen h5, h6, h4. It's kind of some complicated lines given by the engine, so it's really hard to comprehend. So in a way, Trisha was a bit lucky here, but it's not simple. After bishop e5, Trisha gained the bishop pair, and she's a pawn up, but the d5 pawn isn't that healthy, so it's hard to say if she's winning or not yet, but it's a matter of time when she gets her pieces into the game and then somehow hope for some other weaknesses to crop up. Trisha got her rooks up, the queen is now very protected after some maneuvering, and at this point, both players were under time pressure. I remember seeing the game and it was really nerve-wracking. And rook e2 bound. This was a kind of throwing the spanner into the attack, and here it was just a devastating attack. And a very nice attacking game by Trisha. I think she found some good strategic decisions, followed up with a nice clinical victory. All right, moving on to round 4. So Trisha was paired against Rosul Alexander from Austria. I think his brother was playing this tournament too, and he was playing from the Poland flag. So I guess they're both from Poland and Austria. So this position, we see a King's Indian opening, and it's very close. There's no pieces exchanged. All the pawns are still on the board. Here, black kind of throw the spanner with b5, kind of developing some dynamic elements on the queen side. So this is kind of typical for black. Trisha accepted the gambit. It's kind of like a Benko gambit. C takes b5, a6. And now, here Trisha took some time and thought what she should do. B takes a6 looks like a natural option. Knight c1, trying to regroup. However, Trisha found a very nice, again, trap. b6. What? So now the problem is black can't capture it. Why? If queen takes b6, a3 is gonna get trapped. Yeah, basically the knight doesn't have any squares. c6 is covered by the d5 pawn. a6 is the pawn. His own pawn is there. What to do? So it's a tricky situation for black. But there's one thing. With the queen on a5, a3 isn't that working well. But however, anyway, he played knight d7, trying to gain the b6 pawn, knight c1 and f5. So black was trying to get some play on the king side too, but there is no much attack here. After some play on the queen side, Trisha eventually was a pawn up, piece up, then a rook up, and then soon she won. So again, it was a matter of precise piece play, and then Trisha won the game. Now let's take a moment and see this tournament situation. So after round 4, Trisha, Piotr, and Doris, 3 of them were on full points. Trisha was playing against Piotr. Let's see round 5 pairing. Trisha was playing against Piotr, which ended in a draw, and I was playing with one of the sole leaders, Doris, and I won my game too. And that meant in the penultimate round, and the final day there were 2 rounds, so it's round 6 and round 7. Here we see that Trisha was playing. I won't now reveal the result, but for Trisha, but I won my game. So now let's see Trisha's game in the penultimate round. So here we see that this is a symmetrical position, but black pieces are much more coordinated. The double rooks on the e file, the bishop on g4 kind of having an annoying pin. Now, Trisha's knight on f1 isn't doing well. So it's definitely black is in the driver's seat, but it's equal position. It's equal. So Trisha played knight e3, and this was a really bad move. Black played a right exchange sacrifice, and it doesn't seem that black gets much material advantage, but the pawn structure is what we have to talk about, especially when black has a pair of knights. Such a closed and rigid positions can really complement black's position. So again, Trisha was kind of defending very passively, but she was kind of forced to do it. So black has 2 pawns for exchange now, or sorry, 1 pawn, but white's only hope is to kind of break up the position, and Trisha it was a kind of a mini achievement to exchange the queens. However, here Patrick, who was black, he offered a draw to Trisha, and Trisha, when she was talking with me, she said that this kind of gave her confidence of playing. Now, but the game is far away from a decisive result, because from white side, if Trisha needs to win this game, she has to open files, and as you know, that rooks need open files. But Trisha's thinking was to decline a draw and kind of keep playing, and I think that is what we have to appreciate here. It's still very equal at this point. After knight d6, rook f3, knight c4, rook h3. So Trisha giving up a pawn, but in the process, she's able to swap off a rook. So here again, you see black is now 2 pawns up, but it's really hard to... here g4 was a strong move to kind of prevent f5, h5 stuff. After king f1, f5, king e2, f4, knight g4, knight e5. It doesn't really sum up, and Trisha's now playing for a draw now. She's no more in driver's seat, but look at the king on g3. Oh my god, the g2 pawn. Trisha's rook is not doing much. It's chaotic. Rook h1. So the king, oh my god, it's on g2. So black has 3 protected pass pawns, and this is far gone now. And I think it's like any moment Trisha should resign, but Trisha was kind of hanging on to it. But both players reached severe time pressure, and this led to some serious blunders by Patrick. But still, it's was very tricky to having 2 knights, but Trisha slowly kind of played the right moves. The knights felt stuck, and there was no pawn protection, and Trisha's rook suddenly became so active that there were a lot of room of error. And here, after a few moves, the knight on e4 and knight on c4 is hanging. So it's just impossible for black to defend. He went knight d6, kind of giving up, but again here, Trisha's opponent offered a draw. But here, Trisha declined again, and it's a very technical position. The king takes the pawn, and the rook goes back, and Trisha's opponent resigned here. It was a very topsy-turvy game, but Trisha kind of made it, and I think that's what is important when, to win a tournament, you get these games, and you have to just hang on to such tides, and if you're able to make it, then you kind of deserve to win the tournament. So, and that's how Trisha won the penultimate now. And now, the last round was Trisha's biggest opponent. That was me. So, Trisha was playing against me, and we had a quick draw. We had to catch a flight to Krakow airport, so we didn't have much time. So, we were kind of thankful that we both were playing in the last round. Otherwise, it would have been very hectic, because the airport is 3 hours road journey from Bardejov. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the videos. It was a very interesting format. I hope this format of having a different kind of view and then analyzing wasn't too confusing, but we wanted to show our simul in a way, and also try to keep it entertaining by our analysis. So let us know what you think about the games in the comments. Thank you.